everyone, my name is Shiny Ann. Welcome to Empowered Mindset. Empowered Mindset is a platform where we get to educate and empower people in different areas because a lot of minds nowadays are contaminated with negative information. So here we are. We have our guests.
Hello, hi everyone. My name is Elizabeth Kadzo. I am the CEO PASIA Kenya organization. PASIA is an abbreviation for Protection Against Child and Youth Abuse. Apart from that, I am a teacher. I teach in a certain primary school in Kisauni sub-county. Our organization is based in Utange, an area in Kisauni sub-county of Mombasa County.
Well, you say that you are a CEO of a certain organization called PASIA.
Mm-hmm.
What does PASIA deal with specifically?
PASIA deals with cases of violence against children.
Okay.
Yeah.
And why did you choose that? Why did you choose child violence or child abuse?
Yeah, we looked at the society and the child is vulnerable to a lot of abuse, and we have seen that the child needs to be protected.
Mm-hmm.
Remember, children are the future generation.
Yeah.
So if we don't protect children in future, we may not have children. That is why we thought of the child. And I also personally have a passion for children.
Wow, that's so nice. So when you talk about child abuse, what are we talking about?
We are talking about the kinds of child abuse. Actually, child abuse is the violence against the rights of a child. Remember, a child has a right to education, to life, to love, to play, to medical care, to security. So this is where we now come in.
Okay, maybe you tell us types of abuse, because when you're talking about abuse, you're just generalizing it. So maybe you tell us what are ways that a child can be abused.
There are different types of abuse, and they are classified into actually four.
Okay.
We can abuse a child, or a child can be abused physically, sexually, mentally, and also psychologically.
Oh, I think most of us are aware of physically and sexually abused. But now I've heard that you have said about mentally and emotionally abused. So maybe you detailize it. What do you mean by a child being abused mentally or emotionally?
Yeah, let me begin with the physical.
Okay.
When we say a child has been abused physically, it means there is some pain that has been inflicted on a child, maybe by burning, cutting, or maybe bruises. So we see that a child has been physically, there's pain and there's a hurt, or most of it can be seen. You can see that this child, maybe a hand is broken.
Yeah.
You see that this is physical. When we talk of sexual, we mean that there has been a sexual relation between an adult and a child, or even a child and a child. Since we are saying children can be sexually involved after the age of 18, when we don't call them children anymore.
Yeah.
But below the age of 18, sexual involvement between a child and a child is an abuse. A child and an adult is an abuse. Then we look at the emotional abuse, where we can shout at a child. You know, a child will listen to you if you're not shouting, other than when you're shouting, or even name calling. Sometimes we call children, look at this cow. Then the child feels like, okay, my mom is a human being, and my mom is calling me a cow.
Yeah.
Or maybe in school,
Yeah.
look at this pig. You're always coming to school dirty. And you know, the pig is not a good role model. A pig is dirty.
Yeah.
Is eating that stuff. So when they are called such names, it emotionally hurts them, and it goes beyond even school going or being an adult. Then we talk of the psychological. When the mind is not at peace, when you disturb somebody, like when now you have, we like abuse them by calling them that they are pigs. It goes way into their minds. and it reminds them all the time that once my teacher called me a pig, once my mother called me a cow. So it doesn't give them peace. That's when we say if there's no peace emotionally, sexually, then it's an abuse for the child.
Wow, that's a good knowledge, because most African parents are used to such kind of words, because they'll not even expect like this word will come out. You just hear, well, talk up a paka, you see, something like that. So it's a good thing, because they get to know that it's a way of abusing a child.
Yeah.
So what are the effects, or what are the impact caused when a child is abused?
It can cause school dropouts. Yeah, children, when let's say for example, when a child is involved sexually with an adult or another child, they can either become pregnant. And when they become pregnant, and this one, we are not saying that boys are not being abused, but if we specialize like for the child, for the girl child, it means they cannot continue with their education very well. They are not at peace. Right now, they have a condition that even an adult, when they become pregnant, they need a lot of time to relax. But even when we say children now can go back to school, but the state of being pregnant is always a state where children cannot accommodate it. So it becomes like, yeah, we'll take them back to school, but do they have the peace? Others can manage, but most of them don't manage. So now it can cause them not to be in school. It can also lead to low ego. You know, they have been broken somewhere. I'm not like the other girls. I have done this and I've fallen pregnant. So it can also cause low ego in children. It can also lead to prostitution. When children are not in school anymore and they need to eat, they need to feed. Most of the parents seem to neglect them when they I took you to school, but now you're pregnant. Your time is now done. So to be able to manage their lives, they involve themselves into commercial sexual exploitation, where they're being exploited, and at the end of it, they become like slaves to sex. So the school drop out. We have commercial sexual exploitation on the rise. Yeah, these are just some of the effects of abuse.
Yeah. As I've seen, according to what you were saying, like it's like when you are abused, it's add more abusement into the kids, because if the kid is abused sexually, it torments the mind, it torments the emotions, and it goes wide and wider.
One abuse leads to another abuse, because at the same time, when this child has to manage their life, you see, they go into child labor. When child labor is also an abuse. In fact, it's a physical abuse to the same child. So one abuse leads to another abuse, builds up to another abuse. Eventually, the child is multi-abused.
That is so sad. Well, these things have been happening into our society. Like, it's all over. The sexually abused, the emotionally, and all those types of abuse are happening. Even right now, as we're speaking, somebody is doing the same thing. So what are the causes of violence?
Actually, it is alarming, and it is quite true, but negligence, when people neglect their duties, their responsibilities on children, parents may be separate. When they separate, children are left maybe to one parent who may not be able to manage the children's welfare. It leads to children involving themselves into things that they don't know that it is actual abuse. So apart from negligence, we have ignorance. We do not know. We are not aware of, if I do this, it means I'm abusing the child. So apart from negligence, poverty is also a big thing in our society, especially in this community where many of our people have not gone to school. Yes, a bigger percentage now is going to school, but initially we had just the men going to school. So the level of intelligence and the level of us being aware of these things is something new. Most of the community members do not know about it.
Very true. And okay, in terms of government, does the government have a specific law, or does the government say anything about child abuse or child rights?
Yeah, the government, the constitution actually, this was made on the 11th of October in 2019, and it states this. I'm going to read it. Children shall enjoy special protection and care. Children shall enjoy human rights and fundamental freedoms consistent with their age and maturity. Number 2, children shall be guaranteed special protection from economic, social, physical, mental, or other exploitation and abuse. So it is in the constitution.
Oh, so the child has a right to
They have a right.
So maybe the parents has abused the child emotionally or maybe physically. The child has the right to report the parents.
Yeah, because it is stipulated in the law that you cannot go against the rights, and the law can be against you. You can face a jail term, especially now when, like you say, we cause bans. This is physical because a child has stolen, or you cut the hand of a child, you have caused injury. So when you face the law,
Wow,
you can be taken to court.
That is very serious. The matter of fact, as we are hearing what Madam is saying, that parents can basically be jailed because of such kind of issues, the abuse and what is happening in the society. So we should be very careful. According to what I've heard, it's all over, and we need to stop. Or whatever is happening need to stop. So what can we do to stop all these things that are happening in the society?
One thing is to be aware of the child. We look at what is exposing the child to the abuse. For instance, if we look at the exposure into the internet, children right now know a lot of things, and whenever they watch programs, every program is given. This is under parental guidance. They learn a lot of things from the internet. So as parents, we need to be there to see what our children are watching, what do our children see, and what do they learn. Dialogue with our children to know what they are going through is also very, very, very important, because once we create a gap where we don't get connected to our children, they will come to bring out the behaviors that lead them to abuse.
So let me catch you in that point. When you're saying that we should, it's like we are trying to say we should limit the manner of exposure the kids are being exposed to.
Yeah, actually the parental guidance. We see what your child is watching. Even if you buy them the phones, because these days our parents are buying phones for their children, but you do not know what they watch. You need to create a lot of dialogue with the child. Oh, what are you watching today? What did you watch? Sometimes you make snap checks with their items to see, maybe they have things they have brought to the house which don't belong to you, but maybe they watched in a program, and then they tell you, you know what, I saw it in a certain program where children were taking things that were not belonging to them. There is also exposure with other children. So we also need to know who are our children engaged with at school, at home, on their way to school, in the church, in the mosque, because that's where they get to know a lot of things. And when they are withdrawn, we need to know what is going on, because sometimes when children are abused, they tend to withdraw. That is a first sign to show you that maybe something is going on which is not normal. Then we know. When we see they are limping, you don't assume, oh, you just went and played and you hurt yourself, now you are limping. They may be limping because they have been taken through some other things that are showing violence. So we need to be more connected to our children, and we also need to create awareness to our parents so that they may know how to guide their children in whatever they do. Yeah.
So more awareness and more parental guidance is very important.
Yes.
And actually the part of awareness, because this is to parents that they don't have an idea of what is called to a child abuse, or what is it called to violate a child. So I think more awareness and will help and
Actually,
empower a lot
yes.
of parents.
Yes.
Because this is specifically for parents who don't have the idea of how is it when a child is abused, or what ways is
A child is
is abused.
Yeah.
And another thing, to our kids, we need to have that parental guidance.
Parental love.
Yeah, it's very important.
Yes.
Wow, it's been a good dialogue that we have had. It's an empowerment to some people. It's a knowledge, and we appreciate for your time.
Thank you so
Thank
much.
you for empowering us, and you're most welcome.
Thank you.
Ladies and gentlemen, we shall meet soon. Bye-bye.
Bye.